So let's have the wellness recipe for what the need to take to act, or we all need to take actually to have a good mental state.
Yes, it's important, to I'm not, like I said, mental illness, wellness is more than just the absence of mental health or mental illness. It's a state of emotional and psychological well-being. So you want to change your state of well-being, right? Having a sense of self-worth. Don't give up on yourself. Boost your self-esteem. And having the ability to cope well with normal stresses of life. Stress is something that we all go through, but being able to cope with stress, understanding how to cope with stress is very important with mental wellness. And be an active part of a community. Don't just seclude yourself from the community. Be an active part of it. It keeps the energy on. It keeps you, active. It keeps you, it makes you to think to think of being someone that has self-worth. And I will not rule out the fact that some mental illnesses are genetic. That means maybe a family member has it. The genetic. Some, they're as a result of physical illness. Some are caused because of traumatic events, like the incident of a loss of a loved one. Some are as a result of prolonged stress. So if you're able to understand what could cause, mental condition in our lives, it's easy for us to maintain wellness. And sometimes some are caused as a result of environmental factors.
Factors like
if we say environmental factors, it could be where they find themselves, they're not comfortable, people that they hang around with, environmental factors. Could be, a trigger of stress in the lives of some people. So it's important we understand what is making us feel a certain way so that we can either retrieve from it or learn to deal with it. And some other signs of poor mental health, it's good to know that in order for us to maintain mental wellness. Persistent sadness. If you're someone that is always sad. Anxiety, because there are anxiety disorders. People get so anxious, then that's a sign. Changes in appetite. Loss of appetite, you lose interest in everything. There are times in one's life that you may feel, that way. But if you continue to dwell in that state, that is a problem. But if you're able to come out of it and maintain wellness, it will be of help to us. Because everybody faces stress. How do we cope with the stress is very important. So it's very important for us to learn coping strategies when it comes to stress. If you're overdoing things, of course you'll be stressed. Especially women who worry over everything. It can cause stress-related conditions. It can cause nervous breakdown. So that's why it's important to notice all this. If you're having difficulty concentrating, take a look at that. What could be the cause? So it's very important we pay attention to all these things so that we can maintain, wellness, mental wellness. Mental wellness or mental well-being, I would term it. It's important that we have good self-care in order to have mental wellness. Take a break from the usual norm of life. Things that you continue to do and is stressing you out, take a break. That's why they introduce mental health day. If you know that you're pushing it too hard, take a break. It's our entitlement. And it's part of self-care. So this is the time to talk about it. for people to know that they have, it's their right. It's something that they can take. Mental health day, that yes, it's time for you to take a break. Do something that is of fun to you. Don't go back to anything that stresses you out.
Okay, now let's quickly look at the accessibility to mental health care. Now, in New York City, how accessible is the treatment or the health care itself?
It's very accessible if people are really ready to utilize it. All hospitals, I won't say all, I'll say most hospitals, the emergency rooms provide mental health treatment. They will attend to anyone that talks to them and reveals that this is the way. Just tell them your symptoms, and they'll assign someone to you to speak to you. It's nothing to be ashamed about. I tell my clients, you don't even know who has mental health condition.
It's true.
The difference is they take care of themselves. I tell them I may have, but you wouldn't know because I've learned to maintain mental wellness. I've learned to maintain wellness. Why? Because of what I'm doing. So don't assume people don't have it. So it's important if we notice that something is wrong with us, don't be ashamed of talking about it. It may not even be mental illness, but the fact that you opened, you tell someone, you tell a professional, they'll be able to tell, what the problem is and provide you with. There are resources. There are resources out there. There are hotline numbers to call. If you know you're feeling, if you Google it, you will get it. There are hotline numbers to call to get help. They will talk to you, engage you over the phone. They have therapists on the phone 24/7 to talk to you. And if you feel like going to the hospital, don't hesitate. It's nothing to be ashamed of. So there are many resources out there that people need to. If you don't speak up, you don't get it.
Now, what is the place of family or role of family and friends? Now, from the beginning, you made mention of stigmatization and all of that. So how do we help family, or how does a family member help another family member who is going through this, or a friend, help his or her friend in order not to be stigmatized? Because whether we like it or not, one way or the other, unconsciously, even families tend to, stigmatize this person unconsciously.
Some family members that don't have the understanding may distance themselves from such people. Support them. Once you notice that, like I said earlier, family members notice it even before the individual. They notice something is wrong. Maybe they're losing their thoughts, or maybe they withdraw, whatever symptoms that they may notice. Such people should support rather than stigmatize, rather than condemn them. Support them. Communities are being educated just because we know that these people need support. Talk to them. Everybody needs someone to talk to. So if you have a family that is, you believe needs support in that area, please support them. And like I said earlier on, people should not be ashamed of sharing. And the more NAMI continues to educate people in communities, in offices, the education is going round, I guess more people are having more understanding rather than stigmatizing or withdrawing for such people. They listen to them and point them to the right place. That's the best thing. Do not be quiet about how you're feeling. And be a part of a community means community could be a church. Community could be a gym. Could be anywhere there are a group of people that if you don't speak up, your support may be there. So it's important that people embrace such allow them and support them, either by pointing them to resources that are available or refer them to a specialist.
Okay, so we're running out of time. I quickly want to ask this question. I actually have one more question, but I don't, maybe in just a few minutes. What are the procedures as a counselor, the procedure that the procedure for a mental health person to actually get attended to?
The procedure to get attended to at what level? At the clinical level or hospital level?
Well, I think I think in both level, because I'm sure you've spoken to a couple of people over time. So to actually get to see you, what are the procedures?
It depends on the setting. Yes, if it's at the clinical level, like I work for, they will be referred. They must have been assessed and diagnosed, and they'll be referred to me. In the process of doing my own intake, because to get to know the person is part of intake. Know their history, because it may be in their gene. It's someone in the family had the same problem. So I would do my intake, despite that there's an established diagnosis, and more may come out in the process. So after that, I'll be able to know, whether that person needs, how often the person will meet with me for therapy.
Thank you so much for that explanation. Now, finally, there's something we do here. We actually ask a question about what people don't know about you. So what are those things, or what is that thing that people don't know about you?
Okay, let me say this. You mentioned something about family, how family can actually support people that may have mental health condition, or presents themselves with some symptoms.
Yes.
Yeah. There was a time I was almost getting anxious when I wasn't getting married early enough. But I had my uncle that believed, it was the only one that knew that, I stand by my faith, and I would not compromise. So even when every other person, my mother thought I was just being difficult, pride, they called it pride, that I looked down on everyone because they're not at the level I was, I almost broke down. Sincerely, I must add, because I'm talking about it now, because I want to encourage other people. When at that point, my sister already had a date for our engagement, and I was acting as if everything was well. But immediately my uncle showed up and he asked me, would I travel with him? I broke down. I had to see a therapist. I broke down because I was holding it back. And I try to tell people, don't get to that point. If my uncle didn't know me so well, I don't know, maybe I would have lost it. And everybody else may not understand. So he was able, he's a general overseer. So was able, he understood me. He helped me, rise back to my feet, encouraged me. Not only was I not engaged, not only because I was chosen, I didn't have the right job. So those are circumstances that can make people get distressed, especially when they start comparing people around them, their age mates. So I was at that point, my uncle helped me, in that process. And that was when I left the country.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for that. We appreciate your time, and I'm really, really excited to be discussing this with you. Thank you once again.
You're welcome. Pleasure being speaking with people. Thank you.
And to you out there, thank you too for being part of this show. And I hope for that if you're also in this category or you have people around you who need help, don't hesitate to actually point them towards the right direction. Until next time, when I come your way again with another exciting topic, stay blessed and be happy. Bye for now.